Richardson. I work at BIMA. I'm a business development manager there. I am responsible for a program that we have where we work with a payday loans company selling insurance to their branches. So I'm responsible for sales and also scaling up because it's a brand new program. We just launched it in March. So microinsurance has the potential to really transform lives. And the reason is that, so we primarily target people who are in the informal sector, those who are not earning as much on a daily basis. So when something does happen to them, whether it's a death or illness, the shock is, it has a huge impact, right? And so what microinsurance has the potential to do is sort of help soften the blow, right? If something happens, whether you're sick and you have to leave work, now you can recoup some of the cost or some of the shock, by receiving money from us. So, and BIMA is really known for delivering insurance very easily. Our policies are very straightforward, and also paying very quickly, which is something that our customers really need, right? Cash in hand as soon as possible. So, yep. So I am American, but I'm also Trinidadian. I've been in Ghana for a year. Prior to coming to Ghana, I lived in the US, so was my accent. So lived in New York, worked in financial services for about 5-6 years. And then long story short, decided one day that I wanted to move to the continent to help or to teach. So I moved to Namibia, lived in Namibia for a year and a half, fell in love with the continent, traveled the southern region. It was amazing. So yeah, after that experience, I decided this is it. This is home for me. Fast forward, one graduate degree later, I'm here in Ghana. Been here for a year, and yeah, loving it. I've found it amazing, and I think that really speaks to the hospitality on the continent. So I mentioned I've traveled a little bit, from south to now west, and it's definitely people very receptive to me, very kind, it's a very kind, respectful, and that's generally how my experience has been in terms of like interaction with people. Yeah, it's been mostly positive. Yeah. So my journey coming back to the continent started when I left Namibia, and after that, I decided to go to business school with the intention of actually returning back to the continent. I would say that some of the challenges that I had faced was, one, I was living abroad, whether I was in Spain or where I went to business school, or in the US, looking for work, in the States was definitely a challenge. But the journey overall was, it was a bit long, but it was worth it at the end of the day. So it was a long journey, but it was good. Yeah. How do I reimagine Africa? So I imagine it as open. That's the word I can think of. I don't want to get into any political things, but people being able to cross borders, intercontinental trade, travel, right, vacationing in the continent, easily being able to move around, that's how I reimagine it. And then for me personally, I don't know if I'm a diasporan, but I am of African heritage, from the Caribbean. Having that link, a stronger link between my part of the world, which is the West Indies, Trinidad, Jamaica, South America, and the African countries. So that's how I imagine it. No, I mean, I work with the youth in Namibia, and I just found that they had so much potential, but didn't necessarily have the resources or weren't given the opportunity of a good education. So even where I work now at BIMA, something I always try to do is like mentorship. And that's been my objective, is if I am working, whether I'm working for a company or I'm running my own initiative, just giving people the opportunity to learn, to have the exposure, so they could be able to move up and do better for themselves, because there's such a gap. I know we talked about some of the skills gap, but it's very interesting being here and seeing it on the ground. You know, when I'm interviewing for positions, you know, just some of the things that may be missing, but you know, if they just had the opportunity, just giving a little bit more guidance, definitely they could just move much further. And so where I am in my role, I always try to mentor at least 1 or 2 people directly. And then the company does do some other initiatives outside of that, but mentorship, the youth, giving them the opportunities to learn as much as possible. That's what my goal is, so, yeah. I definitely, well, funding is always something that comes up, right? If you want to, let's say, take someone on excursion somewhere to give them some exposure, you need funding for that. You also, I feel like, what are the other 3 things? People. You need people to buy into your idea. You need senior people to also support you and to buy into the idea. So that's another resource I definitely feel that is needed to make it work. And then also I would say, yeah, the technology, of course, you know, being able to supply, whether you're mentoring somebody directly or a group of people, whoever they need, to give them the opportunity so they can research, learn, find, because they also need to go online and figure some things out as well. Just as I would spend time online looking for whatever it is. So yeah, those are the 3 things I can think of. You know, my commitment is doing the best job that I can so that I can then in turn give back to somebody else. Because if I'm not working hard, if I'm not, you know, for example, my program I'm running, if that program is not successful, then it can have impact on my direct reports, right? So doing the best job that I can in my own space to be able to grow and learn and then pass on that information. So it's acquiring, but then also passing it along, so.